Welcome back, everyone. I am Voitoon, and we will be going over the Challenge USA Season 2. Now, I am a big Challenge fan, especially in recent years. Okay, I'm more a fan of the spin offs rather than the main show. The main show's but I am excited for this recent Challenge season of USA. We get to see Survivor players, Big Brother players, and two Amazing Race players compete against some of the best from the recent years of the challenge. This is exciting, and we will be going over all of the cast from alphabetical order, male and female, and we will be going over what to expect from each contestant, as well as what they need to prove to us, so we can want them to come back for a second season. Now, this will be a little bit different from my previous video on Big Brother 25. These are challenge players, so we've seen them before on a reality show, so we know what to expect. So things will go much quicker than in Big Brother, where these are new players, we don't know them, so things will go much smoother here. Once we get done with the cast, we will also go over the twists and what to possibly expect from the season. This is so exciting. The Challenge USA is getting a second season. I'm excited. So let's get into it, and let's start with The Amazing Race. Now, I don't know much about The Amazing Race. I've only seen like 2 to 3 seasons, and the only one that really left an impression was the one where Jessica and Cody won. I think that was 29. I honestly don't remember. So if you don't think I'm going to give an appropriate reaction to these two Amazing Race players, then skip ahead in the video. Now, let's start with Dusty Harris. He competed on the Amazing Race season 33. He and his partner Ryan got third place and had the potential to win, but they messed up at the very last checkpoint due to communication problems. I don't think Dusty's going to go far into this game for the same reason why I don't think Lewis can go far in this game. There are only two people. And that may have flied in last season, but this season, challenge veterans are going to be in the game. So, in their mind, I have experience. You don't. You don't have the numbers. So I'm going to use you to get myself further in this game by eliminating you early. But what I want to see from Dusty is if he can improve on his social game than he had in the Amazing Race. I think we can see a presence from Dusty that can make him memorable in the game. Now, moving on to our second Amazing Race player, we have Lewis Colin, one half of the Miami Heat team from season 34. Now, season 34, I didn't watch the whole season, but I did watch the final episode. So, I know that Lewis and his partner were on track to win the season, but at the last checkpoint they lost because they couldn't get their rhythm going with the giant piano. I did like Lewis on that episode. He seemed like a fun presence. He seemed like a strong competitor. Do I think that it'll translate to the challenge? I'm like 50-50 on that. Same thing with Dusty. He can he does not have the numbers going into this. So he's probably going to be an early target just for the fact that he's low hanging fruit. And when you're competing against the veterans who have played the game and are selfish in the game, they're going to take that kindness as a weakness and throw you down early. So same with Dusty. If he can be a memorable enough presence, then we can see him again. But I don't think the game's going to go well for Lewis or Dusty simply because the Amazing Race players are immediately on the out. Big Brother. I'm excited to talk about the Big Brother contestants. We currently have the 25th season going on, which, if all goes according to plan today, I will be right about who the first one evicted is. So, to anyone in my outside media life who has ever doubted me and my skills, I say, ah. Now, onto the Big Brother contestants that will be competing on the season of the challenge. We will start off with Alyssa Lopez. Now, I've always liked Alyssa from the very start of the preseason of Big Brother 23. She did moderately okay on her BB23, but I believe she made a real impact to when she came onto the challenge. She had that whole arc on getting revenge on the cookout, which she did. She managed to take out both Tiffany and Xavier. Ozza was sort of not her doing, and I know she wanted Kylan gone eventually, but I don't think she wanted Kylan gone during that elimination round. She was so close to getting to that final, but she went up against Angela in a pole wrestle. We all knew what would happen. We all knew what had happened. Now, she's coming back this season. I believe if she can repeat her success she had on the first season, she can easily become a switchover and go to the main show. So all we have to ask is, can she repeat her previous success? Okay, next we are moving on to the other Alyssa Snyder from BB24. Now, I actually liked Alyssa from BB24. I know many people didn't, but I personally believe that she was the most something out of the people who were not included in the leftovers. She did win any competitions on BB24, but she clearly has something going for her, otherwise she wouldn't have been asked to come to the challenge. Alyssa needs to show us that she can be both cutthroat and have a nice social game, and she needs to have some redemption, because based on what we have got from BB24, she doesn't have the greatest reaction to her. If Alyssa can redeem herself in our eyes, I think she can become someone that comes back over and over and over. Okay, next we have Amira from BB24. I don't have much on Amira. She was an early eviction in her season. She was the head of the snake on the people who were gunning for Taylor, which is what resulted in her getting evicted early. She didn't win any comps, but she was second in the majority of the ones she participated in, and I think that's what made people want made production want to bring her into this, because even though she didn't win, she was always a close second. Amira needs to show us her nicer side, because we got a lot of that fight and savvy, but it can come off as arrogant and cocky also. She needs to both be strategic and have a better social game. And I think if you're Amira, who was an early eviction in her season, I think her main goal coming in is just to last longer, which I'm not entirely confident that she can do that. Okay, next one up. We have Messy Fessy. I'm not a fan of Messy Fessy ever since Double Agents, where he put himself up against Nelson in a hall brawl. I don't like Messy Fessy. Sorry to Messy Fessy fans, but no, not my cup of tea. Even though I want him to go early, it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. He's got a bunch of allies in the house thanks to the challenge vets coming in, and he's got some allies from the CBS side like Josh and Tyler. Messy Fessy's going to be great in the numbers. He might face some resistance towards the end, but he's going in for the long haul, which I am not a fan of. Alright, next one up. This is someone that I actually am excited for. We got Josh Martinez from Big Brother 19. He was the winner of Big Brother 19, and he has been on 5 challenge seasons in a row, from War of the Worlds to Spies, Lies, and Allies. I miss having Josh on my screen. Honestly, I never thought I'd say it, but I actually did miss having Josh on my screen. Even though he's not the best competitor, he knows how to play the social game, at least until his temper gets the best of him. And, like I said before, his temper gets the best of him, which creates messy drama, which is both funny to laugh at, and you go like, not again, why? But honestly, I missed having that. Josh brings the heat, he brings the spice, he brings the drama, and I like seeing that. And I think this season, he actually has a real shot of getting to a final. He's already ingrained in the numbers, and I don't see people wanting to target him unless it's in an elimination where you want an easy win. Because, I mean, I like Josh, but he's 1-5 in eliminations, and he only won against Michi. That's not really much of a brag. So, I am honestly rooting for Josh. I hope he gets to a final just so that we can see how he would do and judge him off of that. Alright, next one up, we have the runner-up of Big Brother 24. We have Monty. Monty is an anomaly for me. On one hand, I like him sort of. Like, he was a big part of the leftovers. He got to the end and he was a key part in getting Michael out of that final 6 round. But on the other hand, he did some stuff towards the end and mid-section. Like, Monty throughout Big Brother 24 was always up and down for me. And at the very end, where he came second to Taylor, I don't know how I feel about him. I honestly don't. And coming into this season, I'm not sure how he'll do entirely. He could be socially good in the numbers, or he could find himself in early trouble. We will just have to wait and see. And honestly, what I want to see from Monty is just some resolution. I want to know absolutely 100% sure whether I'm on his side or I'm not. Once if he does that, I'm fine. All right. Next Big Brother player we will be discussing is the one and all Calafiori himself, Paulie Calafiori. That did not come out right. Anyway, we haven't seen Paulie since War of the Worlds 2, where he absolutely crashed and burned in the final. He compared himself to Jordan Wisely, how he wanted to go up against the best, and viewed Jordan as the best. Well, he went up against the best and proved to be even less of a competitor than he thought. We have not seen him since World War II. There have been controversies with Paulie throughout the years since then, all of which are completely on him for starting. He and Kara have been living their best lives, but it seems like it's finally time for Paulie to return. And if you had asked me to feel discuss about how I feel about Paulie after War of the Worlds 2, like in the first year or two after that, I would have said I don't need to see Paulie again. If he proved that he's one dimensional, that he's sort of like an angry competitor. But now I'm actually intrigued that Paulie's coming back because I know that he's not going to be ingrained. He'll want to go up against those who have always gotten into the final multiple times. The Tories, the Bananas, the Fessies. Oh God, the Fessies. And I want to see him punch his way to the final. I want, not literally, but I want him to go up against those who have always felt safe and comfortable and make him sweat a bit. Even though Paulie's not the biggest or the strongest out of the players here, he's managed to get to two finals, and with the players that here, I think he has the potential to do that. Do I think I want to see him win? No, but I want to see him make the players who have always been safe sweat it. Alright, next one up, we have Tiffany Mitchell, the mastermind of the cookout. Now, Tiffany proved that she's a legendary Big Brother player, which I agree totally with, but when it came to the challenge in season 1, she fell. She went home in the second episode. She lost in a relatively easy elimination that should have played to her strengths, but no one was really on her side. No one wanted to see her make it far. Now, do I think that target has shrunk a bit? Yes, but I think that Big Brother is more of Tiffany's game, not the challenge. So I don't see Tiffany doing that well in this game. As much as I love her, the challenge is not her game. Alright, we are up to our final Big Brother player. We have Tyler Crispin, the legend himself, a modern day legend. Now, there are sort of two Tylers we can discuss for who we might get in the Challenge USA. BB 2020 Tyler, who was this mastermind, the social mastermind, who copies everything that you want in a Big Brother player, you got with Tyler and you wanted him to win. And then you have Big Brother All Stars Tyler, who was sad, was out of the loop most of the time, and did not seem like he wanted to be there because he missed his then fiancee, Angela. Well, in between seasons, from season 1 to season 2, Tyler and Angela broke up, called off their engagement. Sad, but. So, as far as which Tyler we're going to get, I don't know. We could get the return of BB20 Tyler, who will run circles around the entire house, or we can get BB22, BB All Stars Tyler, who is fine with just going with what's in front of him, who will take a few punches. I don't. It's hard to say based off the information we have which Tyler we're going to get, but I honestly hope that it's the original Tyler because that is the best Tyler. Okay, we are moving on to our next show, which is Survivor. Now, I am a huge Survivor fan. Like, forget what I said about all the other stuff, and I really do mean big Survivor fan. Out of my entire list of shows I've ever watched, Survivor is number 6, which doesn't sound impressive, but considering how many shows I have watched, it is. Now, we will start off talking about the surviving contestants to start with Cassidy Clark. Now, I've talked about my previous success in determining how Cassidy would do in Survivor, and again, now, how do I think Cassidy will do on the challenge? I think she'll do really good. She showed what she can do in Survivor, and I think that would translate perfectly into the challenge. But when I'm thinking about the Survivor contestants as a whole, because Survivor Strawn and all that, I'm not sure how well ingrained Cassidy will be in that grouping, because Cassidy's the newest contestant here. It could be that could play to her advantage, but it could give the Survivor Strong contestants a easy out person saying, we're willing to sacrifice her to advance ourselves. I'm hoping that's not the case, but I think Cassidy will either way be a great player on this season. Alright, moving on. Our next contestant is Chanel from 42. Now, I don't have high opinions on Chanel. From what we saw in 42, she's a rather forgettable presence. Like, out of the women from 42, I can name at least 2 to 3 that I would have rather seen on this season over Chanel. So, what I want to see from Chanel is less to do with her overall game ability, but she needs to be more entertaining and leave more of an impact on us. Because honestly, from 42, she's a forgettable presence. So she needs to be more entertaining. Okay, next we have the winner of Survivor Edge of Extinction, the man who was voted out but won his way back into the game and won. We have Chris Underwood, or Underwood as I prefer to say. Now, the thing about Underwood is that he is a massive unknown. Like, this should not be something that's said about a winner, but it is. He was voted out on day 9. He was the third one out. Then he came back into the game on day 36 and made some impressive moves, and it ended up with him winning. But the community as a whole dogs on Chris Underwood. Don't know why I said Chris there, just Underwood, because they don't know how he can do with a full when he has a full game in front of him because he only played the first third and the final third. So Chris needs to show us that he can navigate his way through a full game. And honestly, I think if he does that, then the community as a large will forgive Chris, forgive Underwood, and we will let the past be where it may in the past, and we will reevaluate Underwood's overall win equity, and who knows, it could result in him moving up in the overall ratings as all the winners, because it's always been Underwood as the bottom winner. But if he can show us what he can do with a full game in front of him, it could result in him going up the ladder. Okay, next one up is Desi Williams. Now, first thing first, Desi was robbed. 100% robbed during the final of USA 1, all because the Meow Meow could not swim. Now, I'm really glad Desi's getting a second chance. I don't think she, I think she was on the short list of people who almost didn't get back and didn't get on this season, but I'm glad she is. Now, from her Survivor days to USA 1, Desi made a huge impact on the USA 1, but she didn't do the same on her Survivor season. She was a forgettable presence, but she became a fan favorite because of USA 1. And I think she's going to take that energy and try to get a win on this season. And I think she can do it. She's probably one of the strongest women in the house. As well, she's probably decently ingrained in the Survivor Strong Alliance. So I think she can get her way to a final. And I think she has potential to win. All right, next one up, we have Michaela Bradshaw. Now, what are my opinions on Michaela? I mean, it's Michaela. How can you not love Michaela? It's goes against the universe. Now, she made impact on Millennials vs. Gen X, which obviously people liked, which got her onto Game Changers, and then people liked her even more when she partnered up with Sari. Now, she took a few years off, but when she came back on the Challenge Spies and Allies, she was the first boot. Booed everyone who was plotting against her, all because she wrote down some names on a list. Now, going into this season, she has some Survivor allies which she lacked before in Michelle, Desi, Chris Underwood, Sebastian. So I think that Michaela can do much better on this season than on Spies and Allies because that was a season that was directly targeting rookies. But this season, even though there are vets coming back, I think it will be a lot harder for them to target players such as Michaela due to her physical strengths, and she's well ingrained into a strong alliance already, so she will not be an easy target going into the season like she was in Spies, Lies, and Allies. Alright, moving on to one of my favorite players in all of, not just Survivor, but all of reality television. We have Michelle Fitzgerald. I absolutely love Michelle. Even before Winners at War, I always loved Michelle, despite what everyone said. Now, what are my thoughts going on Michelle going into the season? I mean, I said before, I love her, always love her. Now, Her survivor record is strong, but she hasn't had the same success going into the challenge on Spies, Lies, and Allies or Ride or Dies. But I think she's learned from those experiences. She even talked about learning from those experiences during the Ride or Dies reunion. So I think if she goes into this season with that mindset on what she did wrong and how she's going to improve, I think Michelle's in a perfect position to get to that final. Do I think she's going to win that final? I don't know that yet. Mainly because we haven't seen her perform in a long distance running sort of competition yet. We've seen her do short sprints, which she's excelled at, but when it comes to a final, it's all about endurance and being able to solve the checkpoints. I think she'll be good in checkpoints, but will she be able to catch up with people in the long distance portion? We'll just have to wait and see. But again, always love Michelle. Always root for her. Hope she does well in the season. She's got the Survivor Strong Alliance right behind her in her corner. I think she's going to be just fine. All right, moving on to our final Survivor contestant, we have Sebastian Noel from Survivor Ghost Island. Some would say the literal ghost of Ghost Island because he was barely on the season. But in retrospect, most of the contestants from Ghost Island were barely on the season. Now, I do like Sebastian. He out of most people on Ghost Island when you're talking about who you like from that season. If you take away Dom and Wendell, there's few to choose from, but Sebastian was always in my top choices. Now, how do I think he'll do on the season? I don't know. I sort of picture Sebastian as a fish out of water, but I think those opinions can definitely change due to what happens here. I think what Sebastian needs in order to be memorable and have the desirability to return, he needs to show us that he can be a force in this game. He needs to show that he can be strategic. Because in Ghost Island, Dom and Wendell sucked all that strategic power out of everyone else. But Dom and Wendell are gone now, so Sebastian has free reign to do what he pleases. He's already got a strong alliance behind him, but I think similar to a like Cassie or Chanel, he can be he could be pushed as we're willing to sacrifice him in order to please you because he is sort of the outlier within the survivors. Now, I hope this isn't the case. He might be an early boot, but I hope he goes deep into the game. I hope all the survivor contestants go far into the game. That's all I got on the survivors. Okay, now we're heading into our final category, the the challenge vets. Now, these are the players that are coming from the MTV side of the challenge and are getting the chance to compete alongside the CBS players, even though they've already done that. Now, let's get into it, starting with Amanda. Now, Amanda's competed on 6 seasons. She's never gotten into a final, and she doesn't have the greatest elimination record with 2 to 6, or maybe it's 7. Now, do I think Amanda has a shot of getting to a final on this season? Part of me thinks that she doesn't have a shot, and part of me thinks she does because even though she's not the best competitor, I can see these CBS players wanting to go after the people who are typically safe and want to try to get those people out, like the Bananas, the Tories. Amanda's never been one of those players that have been guaranteed safety and guaranteed a final. She's never even been to a final. So I can see them wanting to take Amanda to the final so that they can have an easy win against. Alright, moving on. Next one up, we have Corey Wharton. He's been on 9 seasons of The Challenge, and last appearing in Spies, Lies, and Allies. The direction I see CBS going with Corey is sort of like what we got with Danny from the last season of The Challenge. He's a dad, he has 3 kids. I can see them wanting to lean more into that angle of him going with the whole dad persona, and I like that. I think Dad Corey is sort of like one of the top 3 Corys we've gotten from him. And if he's a strong competitor, I know he's a strong competitor, and I think he'll be well insulated within both the vets and the rookies because he's always managed to get along with all sides during his career on the challenge. Alright, moving on. I'm going to keep this one brief and simple, short. We have Johnny Bananas, seven-time champ, one of, if not the best to ever play. I hope he goes early. I hope he gets thrown into elimination early and gets eliminated. He doesn't have the best elimination record, but when you're going up against these sort of players, you actually have a chance of winning more often than not. So I hope he doesn't get to another final, but I'm like 50-50 on whether or not that's going to happen. Alright, moving on. We have a legend, 2-time back-to-back All-Star champion, John Nay. John Nay all day, love John Nay. Now, ever since she returned in 2021 in All-Stars, she has been undefeated. She's gotten to all 3 finals in the All-Stars franchise, won 2 of them back-to-back, and she never really had a formal elimination in World Championship. Her partner, Grant, broke his leg, so she had to be disqualified alongside him. So she never really got a formal elimination there, so she's been undefeated since she came back. Can she keep up that undefeated record and make it to another final in USA 2 and potentially get a 3rd win? We'll just have to wait and see. I honestly hope that happens. I like Shawn A. She honestly deserves it. Alright, moving on to our final female competitor. I was hoping we would end on a better note, but we're not. We're going to talk about Tori Deal. I liked Tori when she first started, Dirty 30, Final Reckoning, For the World's 2, even Total Madness. I did like her in Total Madness. She had a good fall in her ass system archetype. But ever since Double Agents and throughout then, she's been egotistical, high and mighty, and she's managed to get to every final she's competed on every final since then, other than Double Agents. And on World Championships, I just so frustrated I can't even talk about it. I don't want to see Tori get to another final. I hope she gets eliminated early. I want to see Tori Deal fail. Because honestly, a Tori Deal that fails is a Tori Deal that I can actually like and support. I've just had enough of her. World Championship Tori completely stressed me out and aggravated me to a whole new level that I never thought was possible. If I had to choose between Messy Fessy and Tori Deal, I would choose Messy Fessy. That's how much I dislike Tori. And it shouldn't have come to this. Alright, next one up, our last challenge competitor, we have Wes Bergman. Now, my opinions on Wes, he's an all-around strong competitor. I know he's one of the legends of the game, but do I think he needed to be on this season? No. Honestly, in my opinion, no. He is a legend, yes, but there's another person that's sort of like in his archetype beginning that's beginning stronger thanks to the All-Star franchise, which is Nehemiah. And honestly, I would have rather had Nehemiah on my screen for this season than Wes. Wes is starting a new family soon. He's getting heavily involved in his outside challenge life, so I don't think he needed to be on this season. But he is. So how do I think he'll do? I can see him trying to get in with the rookies while also trying to please the vets. It's a dangerous path to be on in this game, but he's managed to pull it off a few times, also failed on it a few times. When it comes to West, it's always been hot and cold. He either fails or succeeds. Which West we'll see today? I don't know. If he succeeds, then we'll clap, cheer for him, and if he fails, we'll just chalk it up to another classic West failure for trying to do too much. All right, that's all the contestants for you. Now let's move on to the twists of the season and what I think of them. Let's start with the three-team format. I'm very curious on how this is going to play out. We've seen this three-team format only twice before in both Cutthroat and Spies, Lies, and Allies. I'm just going to ignore Spies, Lies, and Allies because who wants to bring that up again? But in Cutthroat, it worked out pretty well. And I mean, if they can repeat that success, then this is going to be a really good season. Now, on to the twist when it comes to voting, the whole pop up. If you've seen the trailer, you saw this whole airball machine like they do in like the lottery. Yeah, the lottery, that's it. Where they randomize the balls, the numbers, and who only one will come out, and that will be the ball that determines your fate. I like this twist. I honestly do like it. It brings a level of randomness to the game where I can see these game shows like Big Brother and The Challenge sort of be like these sort of building block. Like this one scene happens to lead to this scene to get to this end result. It's like you're playing with building blocks, but this twist result is creates a difference. It's no longer the numbers and all of that because all it requires is just one odd vote and someone that was safe is in elimination fighting for their life and they can go home. It creates an unsafe feeling that I get a thrill at. Hmm. Anyway, those were the two twists that we know about so far. Now, I plan on going over the season once it ends, as well as we have a current Big Brother season. I plan on going over that when it ends, as well as once we get to the jury phase. I plan on creating a mid-season power ranking to determine how I believe the season is going so far. Alright, that's enough for this season. If you don't believe that I did an accurate assumption or corrections for this season, I will put the links to two channels that I believe that have done great jobs in the past, Meridian Review and Anglecake Entertainment in the description below. Okay, until next time, this was Void Tune. Please like, share, and subscribe. We are currently at 7 subscribers. Let's get it up. Till then, so long.